This single day in Grindelwald cost us more than almost every other day combined. So, was it actually worth it? We're Sarah and Kate, and this is part 4 of our Switzerland trip. When searching for things to do, Grindelwald is sure to come up every time. While a distance from where we were staying, we all agreed this was somewhere we'd like to visit, so prioritised this in terms of time, travel, and cost in our week's visit. Grindelwald is a village in the Interlaken area of Switzerland and is hugely popular with visitors. While not a significant amount of miles from where we were staying in Sion, the mountains between them make it a long and not so straightforward journey. We found we had 2 options: drive the highway back towards Bern on the road we'd taken from the airport, or head to Goppenstein where there is a car train taking you through the mountains. We chose the train. Setting off at about 6 a.m, we drove 2.5 hours to reach the station, which has toilets and a shop on site. It cost us £26 for a one-way trip, and we joined the queue just as the next train was boarding. Trains run every 30 minutes, so if you miss one or it's full, you're in for a bit of a wait. Unlike the Eurotunnel, the car train is a fully open structure, and the majority of the journey is through the mountain in darkness. Luckily, it doesn't take long, and before we knew it, we were on the other side and began driving to Grindelwald. Arriving at 9 a.m, there was plenty of traffic. We followed the signs to a multi-storey car park, which is situated at the bottom of the town. From there, we went back outside to find the bus, which would take us to the cable car station. These tickets came to about £2 per person, and you have to buy these before you get on the bus. You can walk to the cable car station from the car park, but it would probably take around 30 to 40 minutes. The bus stopped in the centre of town at the main bus depot, before driving on to Grindelwald station, where you can find the Grindelwald First cable car station. From here you can either take the cable car, or if you fancy a challenge, you can walk up for free. We did see a few people doing this, but didn't fancy it ourselves. So, for 2 adults and 1 child, we paid £159.10. Tickets could be purchased via the ticket booth or online using the QR code close by. The journey up was smooth, if not a little nerve-wracking for someone who is not the biggest fan of heights, but the views were incredible and took about 25 to 30 minutes to reach the top, stopping at 2 other stations where you could get off to explore or take part in some of the activities on offer. The cable cars offer continuous service from 8 a.m, with the last ones back down at 4:30 in the winter and 6 p.m. in the summer. From the top, you'll have beautiful views of the Viennese Alps. Most prominent are the Wetterhorn, the Schreckhorn, and the famous Eiger. You can watch the mountain panorama from the restaurant, walk the spectacular cliff walk, fly down to mid-station Schreckfield with the first flyer or the first glider zip lines, and get back to the valley on mountain carts and trotty bikes. When purchasing your ticket, there are options to add activities, but we decided we'd be happy just exploring once at the top. If you have a Swiss travel pass, there are extra discounts up to 50% off. Because we had a car for the week, this wasn't something we looked into. But if you're travelling around by train, this would certainly be worth checking out. First, we did the cliff walk, which is a 20-minute roundabout walk from the summit station of First. Just turn left after leaving the gondola building to get to the start. The metal walkway is attached to steep rocks, so it's a thrilling experience and is suitable for all ages. On your way, you'll have impressive views of the Eiger North Face, the valley deep down, and the Backlager waterfall. The last part of the route is also accessible directly from the terrace of the mountain restaurant. It leads to a wonderful vantage point with a glass balustrade from which you can overlook the valley of Grindelwald and the mountains. This was a popular photo spot, so if you want that shot, I'd recommend getting there early and heading there first. However, we didn't wait because although it was still early in the day, there was already a 30-minute wait, and there were plenty of other spots along the route to get some great photos. This walk was included in our cable car ticket, so if it's not too busy, it's definitely worth exploring. We loved the route and the views, but imagine it's not much fun if the narrow path is crowded. Now, popular activities like the first glider and the first flyer were great fun to watch, and we're sure adrenaline junkies would love them, if you're prepared to wait. By 10 a.m, we noticed the queues hovered around an hour and a half and grew as the day went on. The first flyer is a solo zipline that takes off a bit below the gondola station at the top. Secured by the staff, you are then released to reach speeds of up to 84 kilometers an hour. The first glider is a 4-person zipline in which you can fly like a bird. You're first pulled up from the station of Schreckfield to First, and then you're released for a head-first flight down. You should check which activities are suitable for your travel party. For some, a minimum height and/or maximum weight applies. Nijboort and Schreckfield are the two mid-stations on the gondola route between Grindelwald and First. Boort offers a guest house, restaurant and children's playground. You can also rent scooters called trotty bikes from mid-April to late October. Schreckfield is your starting point for the mountain carts, which are available from early May until late October. The 3-kilometre mountain cart path is a fun way to descend to mid-station Boort and was very popular when we visited. In summer, the first area is great for scenic hikes. We opted for some chill time at the mountaintop restaurant while the others set off to Backalpsee. This walk was detailed as only a short distance from the gondola stop and easily accessible via a lovely mountain route that requires little to no elevation increase. 2.5 hours later, the others returned, and while they enjoyed it, felt it was a little further than described. Once over the initial elevation, they felt it was a reasonably accessible walk and raved about the colour of the lake, the fish they saw, and the views they enjoyed. We ordered the rosti with raclette cheese, a cheese fondue shared between 3 people, which came with bread, potatoes, onions and pickles. We then ordered a side of chips, a dessert, a mimosa and 5 soft drinks. The final total came to around £92. While certainly not cheap, it was nowhere near as expensive as we thought it might be considering the remote location and captive audience. The journey down the mountain in the cable car was just as fun. And after a stroll through the town to the bus terminal, we picked up some sweet treats to enjoy back at the chalet. For our final day in Switzerland, before we drove back to Zurich and toured the Lindt Factory, we decided to visit the Grand Dixence Dam, which was a short drive from our chalet. After a hair-raising drive up the steep mountain roads, we found free parking and a much more affordable cable car, paying just £10 per person. The site is open from the beginning of June to the end of October with guided tours available daily. The ride up and down only took 5 minutes each way, but it's not for the faint of heart. Once at the top, you will find toilets, somewhere to get a snack and a drink, and find the starting point to a number of hikes and trails. The dam is the world's highest gravity dam and is really impressive. We loved exploring the tunnels in the mountains and would have happily stayed up there all day. But we went back to the chalet for an early dinner before we set off for an evening swim in a nearby lake. We arrived just as the sun was setting, but the temperature outside was still 30 degrees. There was plenty of free parking, lots of families enjoying barbecues and picnics, and after finding a spot on the grass, we headed in with our water shoes. The next morning, after finishing off the food, packing up our belongings and heading back down the mountain, we filled up the cars and set off on our journey back to Zurich. Although sad to be finishing our trip, we were excited to tour the Lindt Chocolate Factory. We had booked the tickets online a few months before our trip, costing about £16.50 for 16s and over, and £10 for children 8 to 15. The factory has parking on site in an underground car park, which is available to those who had pre-booked the tour. The slots had sold out for our day, so we definitely recommend booking in advance. Before heading off on the tour, there are lockers to place your bags by the toilets. You're allowed to take small bags with you, which is perfect for storing your chocolates at the end. The tour was very interesting, though perhaps less so for younger children, but there were lots of different dispensers to try different types of chocolate. Obviously, this was our favourite part of the tour, though by the end we had pushed the limits of our chocolate intake. In the final room, you are able to take one of each ball, ending up with about 10 chocolates each. And the final experience was fun, watching your chocolate make its way down through the maze before being dispensed by the virtual assistant. Of course, if we thought we were done with chocolate, there was even more free chocolates handed out in the gift shop. It would be rude to say no. In total, the tour took about an hour and we really enjoyed having something to look forward to on our last day, rather than just driving to the airport and waiting to get on a plane. We feel it was good value for money, but maybe a one and done trip. Of course, driving back to the airport was simple. We drove through the city, topped up the car with petrol to return it, and then headed to check in and board our flight home. Before this trip, we honestly thought Switzerland would be completely unaffordable. But by self-catering, packing lunches, choosing free activities and planning carefully, we managed to experience some incredible places without spending as much as we feared. Switzerland definitely isn't cheap, but we don't think it has to be as expensive as people make out. Our final tip is to not eat at any fast food restaurant like McDonald's or Burger King, because this was the cost. So the total cost for our trip to Switzerland was... If you enjoyed this series, please like and subscribe and let us know where we should travel next.